In this video lecture, we'll be discussing about passing arrays as function parameters. So let us see the first program. It is a program that uses a function to find the sum of elements of an array. So let us see the program. So in this program, we have a main function, and inside the main function we have declared an array A whose size is 5. And the elements are 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. Now in this statement we are calling a function sum of a comma 5, and this is the function declaration, the declaration of the function sum. So let us see how the argument array A is passed to the function sum. In the memory, when an array is declared, some space is allocated for storing the elements of array. Assume that these are the addresses of the different elements of the array. We know that array elements will be placed in contiguous memory locations. So assume that 65,530 is the first address, 65,532 is the second address, and so on. So there will be a difference of 2 bytes because we are storing integer elements. Now when we look at the function sum, we have A as, that is the name of the function, as the argument. So actually when arrays are passed as arguments or parameters to a function, the address of the array, first address of the array, will be passed to the function. So in this example we can see that 65,530 is the first address of the array. That is the address of the first element. That is considered as the address of the array. So 65,530 is the array address. This address will be passed to the function. So in this case, call by reference is used as the parameter passing method. So whenever an array is passed as an argument to a function, its address will be passed. Now why we are including the size of the array also when we are passing parameters? When we are passing parameters or the array addresses, this function will have no idea about the size of the array. So we have to give the size also along with the array. If there is need for size in this function only, you may include size, otherwise it is not necessary. So here we are passing the size of the array also along with the address. So this is the notation for passing the array as argument to a function. So whenever an array is passed as an argument, its address will be passed. The array itself will not be copied to this variable. The address is given. So the function sum will be referencing the same array in the memory. So in this function we can see the code for finding the sum. I is equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus, sum plus equal to a of I. And the function returns the sum value, which is collected by the result variable in the main function, and the result is printed. So this function calculates the sum of all elements of the array. So this is a particular example for explaining how to pass arrays as arguments to a function. And this is the output of the program. Let us discuss about the stack memory. Stack memory is a region within the program, and during the execution of functions, recursive functions, etc., the compiler uses a memory called as stack memory to store the temporary data, local variables, etc. So this is our previous program itself. So let us see how this program is working. So this is a stack memory. So first the execution starts from here, that is from the main function. When the main function is executing, inside the main function we have declared an array a of 5. So the compiler will use some portion of the stack for storing details about the main function. So here some space will be there for a of 5. Next one is in result. So there will be some space for the result variable, and for other statements also some space will be allocated by the compiler. So this is the space of main function in the stack. So we know that the stack is of first in first out type. So next when the function sum will be called, the compiler will allocate the space here. Now let us see what happens when a function called sum is executed. Now what happens? Sum of a comma 5. So this is the function sum. So inside the function we can see there is a variable size, then sum, I, and a, that is array a. So in the sum function there will be the variable size, some space for size, some space for sum, some space for I, and some space for a. So here in the sum function we have a reference to a. So this is the reference to a because the address of a will be passed to the function sum. So there will be a reference to a in the sum function. So whenever we are making a change to the array a, that change will be reflected in the main function also. Program, the array argument is a. So here you can write it like this also, int star a. This notation is also used to denote that we are passing address of a as argument to the function. This notation is also correct when we pass arrays as function arguments. Now let us discuss a program that uses a function to sort an array. So we are using bubble sort in this program. So here this is the main function. Since there is no space here, I have written it as 2 sections. So let us start our execution from the main function. In the main function an array of size 20 is allocated, and we are entering the number of elements, it is n, and we are inputting the n elements of the array to a. Now we are calling the function bubble of an. So here the bubble function is not returning anything, therefore we are just calling the bubble function, and the function call happens here. So we'll explain what the function bubble is. Void bubble int a comma int n, and inside the function we have written the code for bubble sort. So this is the code for sorting the elements of array using bubble sort method. So here also you can see the address of the array is passed. Now after executing this bubble sort function, the array is sorted, and we are just printing the sorted array. Print the sorted array for I is equal to 0, I less than I plus plus, then printf a of I. So here when we are printing the array, actually the sorted array will be printed. Why? Because we are passing the address of the array a to the function bubble. So whatever changes this function makes in the array a, that will be reflected in the actual array, and that is why in the main function when we print the array, we'll get the sorted one. So this is how we'll sort an array using functions. That is, we are passing the array as function argument. Now this is the output. Enter the number of the elements, 5. These are the elements entered, and this is the sorted array. Next we'll discuss a C program to find the average of elements in an array. So let us see the program. So here this is the main function. We have declared an array A of 20, I, n. Enter the number of elements. N is the number of elements. And here we are reading the elements of the array A. And this is the function called average of A, n. Since average is a floating point variable, the return type of the average function is float. Therefore, we are using a float type variable here to collect the result from average function. Now let us see what the average function is. Float average of int a, int n. Here the return type of average function is float, since it is returning a floating point variable. Int sum is equal to 0. Here the sum of all the elements is found out, and afterwards what is returned? Sum by n, that is the average. Since sum and n both are of integer types, we have to typecast the result to float, otherwise the result will not be accurate. That is why a float keyword is given here. Now return sum by n. So a floating point value will be returned to this position, that is result, and we are printing the result variable. So we have to learn from this program. What we have to learn from this program? Whenever the array is passed to the function, the reference or the address of the array, the first address of the array is passed to the function. So this is the program for finding the average of all the elements in an array. Now let us discuss a program to search for an element in an array. So this is the program for searching for an element in an array. So let us start from the main function. Since I have no space here, I have used two sections. So int main, and inside the main function we have declared an array of size 50 and the needed variables. Now we are reading the number of elements, that is n, and these are the using this statement we are entering the elements of the array, and we are reading the number which is to be searched. So here k is the number to be searched. Now this is the function called search of array n k. So this is a search function. So what all are the arguments? The array, the number of elements, and the element to be searched. Now let us see what this function is. So this is the function search of int array, int n, int k. So we know that whenever an array is passed as an argument, the address of this array is passed, and this is the size of the array, and this is the element to be searched. So inside the function we are declaring the needed variables. M is equal to -1. This is the variable which denotes whether the element is present in the array or not. And for each element in the array, that is from 0 to n, we are searching for the element k, and if we are finding, we are returning m+1, and after executing this loop, if I is equal to n, we are returning m. So this is how the search function is working. So here the result variable is collecting the result from the search function. So the value of m, whatever is returned, will be collected by the result variable. So if result is equal to -1, we know that the element is not present in the array. So we have to display the message element not found, else we will display the message element is present. And this is the program for searching for an element in an array. So we have to study that whenever an array is passed to a function, its address is passed. So whatever changes are made by the function search, it will be reflected in the array also. In this case, no changes made to the array. And this is how the output is. Enter the number of elements in an array. 5 is the number of elements. These are the 5 integers. And the 86 is the number to be searched. And we have 86 in the array. So display as element is present. So this is the sample output of the program. So in this video lecture, we have discussed 4 programs to explain how to pass arrays as arguments to functions. Thank you.